as you can tell, I'm not in Yorkshire anymore. I'm in lovely sunny Spain here visiting my parents. Because I didn't really have the time to do the review at home, I thought, well, might as well come out here and do some of it here because it's just quite nice. So if anybody remembers last year's Type R hybrid, they'll remember that it did look a little bit odd. Grew on you over time, but initially when you first put the club behind the ball, it did look quite strange. So this year's Evolution R model certainly looks a little bit more traditional, something that golfers are going to be a bit more accustomed to, and I think that's a positive thing. I think sometimes it's quite nice to be different, but sometimes it's that different that it can actually be a little bit off-putting. It's not great to look at. So I think it's certainly a move in the right direction for Benross to go back to something that looks a little bit more traditional. But some things don't change, and this Evolution R is pretty much the same as the Type R in the sense that it's an all black head, all black shaft, all black grip combo, so it looks really quite sleek and stealthy. It's not going to be that or one for a show off, so if you're somebody that likes their equipment to sort of stand out in the bag and make a statement, then maybe this is not the hybrid for you. The little CT channel also makes a return this time, and that's going to help us keep ball speeds up across the face if we're hitting the ball slightly off centre, which is something that pretty much everybody that plays golf does. Everybody from a high handicap to even a tour pro is going to miss the centre from time to time, and if that keeps the ball speeds up, that should keep the distances then a little bit more consistent, and that should help you long term with your scoring. Something else that isn't new is the adjustable sleeve at the neck. But again, much like the Benross Evolution R driver, I do think this has been constructed better than the previous model. Certainly seems a bit more of a snug fit, certainly seems to be engineered better. I'm looking forward to see what that actually translates to out on the golf course again. Will it actually make it feel better off the club face? It's going to be interesting to see whether it does. And to continue with the similarities from last year's Type R, we've got the Kura Cage graphite shaft installed as standard, and we've got the Lambkin UTX grip as well. So everything's pretty similar to last year other than the head shape. The technology in the bottom with regards to the CT channel and the adjustable sleeve maybe has changed slightly, but I can't see how it's going to make that much of a difference from the Type R performance wise, but we shall see when we get out there on the golf course. So let's go there now. So, as it always is when you're first trying a new golf club, one of the things that is first apparent is the aesthetics of what the club looks like when you put it behind the ball, and this new Evolution R model is far superior in my opinion than the Type R last year. The Type R just looked a little bit funny, looked a little bit awkward behind the ball, but this is much improved, much more traditional rounded shape, and I think it's going to appeal to a lot more golfers than last year's attempt. And it actually looks a lot better behind the ball than it does just sat on the ground on its own. That's something that I think you're going to have to go into the pro shop, maybe steal a ball out of the pond ball bucket and put the club behind the ball and see what you think yourself. Without the ball, it doesn't really look all that great, but with the ball, for some reason, I don't know why, I can't really explain fully why, it actually looks much better. And the white paint fill in the grooves has returned as well, much like the Type R from last year, and this gives the appearance of more loft on the club in my opinion. It looks as though the club has more loft than it actually has, something that might inspire a lot of confidence in somebody that's struggling with lower lofted clubs. Virtually everybody, and that's probably why buying a hybrid or a rescue club is because the clubs, when they've got the lower loft, are that a little bit more difficult to use, and if something can give you a little bit of confidence, then all the better. Something else that may appeal to a lot of players is that this club isn't distracting when you put it behind the golf ball. The head's quite neutral, just a dark shape, the shaft virtually graphicless, the grip, no graphics on it pretty much whatsoever. So if you're looking for something that's not going to distract you from the golf ball when you sit it behind the ball, this could be well worth checking out. And now on to the hitting of the club. The sound of the club, the only word that I can really come up with is ceramic-y. It almost sounds like you're hitting a piece of ceramic. It's quite a harsh sound. It's quite loud, but it doesn't kind of reverberate or anything. It's a very sharp, very loud noise, but I quite like it. It's a bit of a click off the head. It's not too distracting, but it is one of the louder hybrids that I've hit. And the feel, well, it does feel quite solid actually. There's no real soft feeling off this head. It is quite a harsh feel, but it wasn't off-putting. It may suit some, it may not suit others. Ball flight wise, really quite pleasing. Benross are aiming this range of clubs, the Evolution R, at the slightly better player, so I was kind of expecting something that was going to fly a little bit lower, and that's what I got. There's a nice stable mid-flight, nothing too high, nothing too low, something that's going to probably appeal to quite a broad spectrum of golfers. Higher handicappers, maybe not. Mid to low, certainly I think they're going to benefit from that lower flight, or it's something that tends to appeal to a better player. Now, unfortunately, there are some negatives. It didn't really bother me too much, but this club has quite a lot of bulge on the face, so the toe is pointing quite a long way to the right, the heel a fair amount to the left. There's not all that much of the face pointing where the player is intending the ball to go. Now, it didn't bother me too much, but I can see that being a bit of a negative for some players. And as always with all clubs, if you're thinking about purchasing any club, but in particular in this video obviously we're talking about the Evolution R Hybrid, if you're thinking about buying this, I'd go and try it first, maybe at a demo day, Benross official demo day, maybe seek out a PGA Pro who actually stocks Benross equipment and get him to maybe tape it up for you, or unless he's got some demos of course that you can try without tape, and go out there and give him a hit. See what you think, see if it's as good as the one that you currently have, or the irons that you're currently using, see if it is a good replacement. And as always, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you do so. I'm only here for another day, so it's back to sunny England tomorrow, back with the jackets and the coats and the waterproofs, hopefully not. See you all soon, and enjoy your golf.